Hey, welcome to the Backyard
Yo.
Blitz. It's sipping on your tea over there. I'm alive.
With a
I'm well.
pinky on.
Okay. Everything's good. Those of you that have texted me wondering how I was doing, I'm okay. I know that I was so upset on Sunday that I punched my brother in the face and I kicked my cat out the door. But then I realized I don't have a brother and my cat's been dead for 7 years. So who the hell did I hit?
Yeah, that's all right. Cats kind of deserve it.
Yeah, they do. They do. All I want to say is the thing that I'm the most disappointed in, okay? The most disappointed in is 6 plays into the game that we don't have a chance to compete anymore. When your quarterback goes down, you got your 4th stringer in there. That sucked. Like, that was one of the most devastating things to watch. Like, Christian McCaffrey had to play quarterback.
Can we get through the intros first?
No.
Can we get through the intros first?
I'm so mad. All right, we got through here. We got profit.
My week was great, man. I had a really nice week. I had a lot of fun. The weather's been kind of
time. You like that?
The weather's been kind of crazy here in New Jersey. If you were watching the Eagles game, you saw a little bit of rain, but you saw some nice weather.
Did you see some rain?
Yeah.
Was it nice?
Things have been good. Another weekend where there was a good game and there was a bad game. Oh wow, we're gonna lose them tonight, boys. I don't know. One good
Starting
game,
early.
One bad game, but I guess we'll dive into that. Ricky's got some big news. I know Ricky.
Yeah.
You saw him on the Twitter.
Like I told you guys briefly last week. Basically could confirm the situation. I was offered an offensive coordinator position at a high school back in my city, not my alumni, but it's crazy because that's where my missus graduated from. So she's coaching girls basketball at my high school, my alma mater, and I'm about to be coaching football at her alma mater.
Funny how things
Awesome.
work.
Good, man. Congrats, Rick. That's big.
Appreciate it, fellas. Appreciate it.
That is. Now, is your brother coming over with you?
BP. If I'm coming with something. I'm not going by myself.
I figured.
I'm bringing stuff with me.
Oh man, that's awesome, dude! Congratulations! I can't wait to hear about that. Obviously, that's going to be cool. And Prophet, how you doing, man?
It's been a very uneventful week for me. Yeah, it's been nice and quiet. Just one thing. We got a new dog this week, and Mrs. Prophet named her 3 miles, which is great because now I can say that I walk 3 miles every day. Yes, but other than that, man, everything's been good.
Well, I'm really happy.
Still got the money hanging up in the back.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, it took a hit this week, but it was a rough weekend. But hey, that happens in this profession.
I don't know if we're gonna be able to get through this show. Our host is losing it.
Yeah, I'm glad and tickled and just so pleased that you guys have all had a great, phenomenal week.
You're our quarterback. Great. You're our quarterback. I know you're wearing a Niners jersey, but we can't have you go down too. All right?
Yeah.
You need to get us through the show.
Yeah.
Shots fired.
That's so good. That's so great.
Reddick ain't in this broadcast, is he?
Yeah. Oh, it's good. Is he coming through the door? I guess I'll block him with my backup tight end. It'd be really great. Awesome. All right, guys. Well, let's get through this. I know that you guys were giving me a hard time, and that's fantastic. I love all that stuff. But let's talk about the first game, okay? The 49ers and the Eagles. We were ready for a heavyweight fight. We thought that was going to be a really great game, and then disaster struck early on. We'll start with Drew up in the upper right-hand corner. I'm sure that you're just tickled to death to talk about this, so I'll go ahead and turn it over to you, pal.
All right. Well, since I'm opening this thing, I have something in my mind that I was going to build off of. And, for those who don't know, obviously we were talking about the game as it was going on. And you guys, BP always comes at my lack of attachment to one team. All right. Yes, maybe that makes me a little bit different than most, where I don't draw myself to one particular team. However, I believe that allows me to see things with clear eyes.
Agree.
Okay? I call things how I see them. I'm an unbiased partner in these games. I watch things with clear eyes, no attachment to anything. And when I watched that game on Sunday, that's what I had, clear eyes. And BP, you say, well, it would have been a good game if we had a quarterback. Well, you go to a boxing match, and one of the fighters gets knocked out in the first round. You don't say, well, it would have been a good match if he lasted 12 rounds. Well, of course it would have been. But it didn't. He got knocked out in the first round, and that's what the Eagles defense did to your quarterback. They knocked him out.
Okay.
All right? This guy didn't twist his ankle coming out of warm-ups. He didn't get a blister throwing the ball in pregame. He got knocked out of the game because the defensive line for that first series and most of the game was dominating the offensive line up front. That's why he got knocked out. That game was close in score for a little bit, but that game was never close. If you're watching, and we talked last week about being a football nerd, all you have to do was watch the flow of that game, and if you ever could admit that the 49ers were truly in that game, I think that your goggles are a little too red and the beam was flowing a little too heavy to admit that, because that game was dominated from start to finish by a better team, I believe. Now,
well, Drew,
you want to say you knock out you knock out Purdy. He's our guy. He's the guy who's been leading us. How long was Purdy the starting quarterback? I'm really asking.
So he was 8 games. He came in against the Miami Dolphins midway through the season when Jimmy got knocked out, and he won every one of his starts.
So he was the quarterback for 8 or 9 games, meaning Jimmy G was hurt for 8 or 9 games, correct?
Correct.
So Josh Johnson was the backup, right? For
so
8 or 9 games.
Our fourth string guy, yeah.
Right. But he had 8 or 9 weeks of coaches watching him during practice who believed for those 8 or 9 weeks that, hey, if Brock goes down, we have enough confidence in this guy that they can run our offense.
Drew,
it's not like
you cannot say that.
Not like they signed this guy off the street.
They did sign him off the street. He was literally on the street.
He was with the team for 9 weeks.
But we signed him off the street.
There's plenty. My point is there was plenty. If they didn't have any confidence in this guy to play in a backup role, they could have had somebody else. So you knock out the friggin' starter. You knock out the backup again.
Josh Dobbs.
Again, your backup didn't twist his ankle. Your backup got knocked the frig out from a defense that was eating all day. It wasn't an accident. It wasn't a coincidence. It wasn't bad luck. It was domination. And that's all I got to say, man. And that's
fantastic.
That's an honest, that is clear eyes, full hearts, can't lose.
Oh, man. That's really funny. So I love the fact that you brought up the boxing match, because it wasn't like the guy got knocked out in the first round. We were ready to watch a pay-per-view heavyweight fight, and the guy got poked in the eye in the first round, and the ref called it. The ref called it, said it's no contest because they threw 4 passes after Purdy went down. 4 passes. You want to know why? Because no one was capable of throwing a pass, especially after Josh Johnson went down.
Whose fault is that, BP? Is that the organization's fault for not? Is that the organization's fault for not bringing somebody in?
Well, okay. So I know in normal circumstances, like you would say, your backup should be good. But let's see. Let's count the quarterbacks that they've gone through. They went through Trey Lance. They went through Jimmy G. Brock Purdy was the third guy, and we sat here all and we're wondering how he was going to do. So let's not act like it was a shock. Yeah, the Eagles dominated. When you're unable to throw a forward pass for 30 minutes in a football game against a team in the NFC Championship game, when you have a 4th-string quarterback drop a shotgun snap and not be able to fall on it. No.
He was
He's
your
a fourth
second
string guy.
No, he was your second string quarterback.
We're talking about the
on
whole
Sunday.
season here.
He was your second string quarterback on Sunday. I'm just making that clear.
Well,
For 9 weeks,
Purdy,
for 9 weeks, he was your second string quarterback.
However you want to spin
Purdy
it, we
wasn't
all know.
Well, you were saying, Purdy's the number one quarterback. He's the first string quarterback. You've been trying to sell us on Purdy.
He is, and it's a great story what he did and what I think that what he would have been able to do. Now,
I agree.
The issue is once he went down, the game was over. The game was over when you're not able to stay balanced. Any defense, the object of what they're trying to do is get you one-dimensional. And most of the time it's in the pass for Philadelphia. Well, the problem was the 49ers couldn't drop back and throw a pass. And then they got down later in the game. It was actually going to be a close game. It was 14-7 until Mr. Josh Johnson decides he can't catch a snap and fall on it. The thing that sucks is that when you're unable to do anything on offense, and Drew, you're a head coach, you know this. Slick, you're a coach, you know this. When your offense is unable to be on the field and get first downs and sustain drives, your defense is out there a hell of a lot longer, and you're going to get exposed.
But that wasn't the case on Sunday. BP.
That's what turned into the case. But
that's not true. That's not true because
how many plays did the Eagles have?
The Eagles
offensively?
When the score went 7-7, and I texted out to you guys, I said, "Man, this looks like things are playing into San Fran's hands." At that time, Philadelphia had run 21 plays. San Fran had run 20. Philadelphia had the ball 11 minutes. San Fran had it 10 minutes. What happened after San Fran scored? Their defense lets the Eagles go on a 14-play, 7-minute drive. So that was their
yeah, that's right. But the Eagles are a good football team, right? So what I'm saying
is,
they're able to go do that 14-play drives, but then your offense after that point, right, is on the field for 3 plays and out. Then they punt back, and that's where it snowballs.
And how many times do you see dominating defenses in situations like that hold the team to a field goal? But they didn't. The Eagles scored a touchdown.
In the regular season, when you're not playing an opponent like the Philadelphia Eagles, like let's not act like this wasn't the NFC Championship game and we're playing any Joe Schmo. Like this was an even matchup between the two with healthy quarterbacks. As soon as one goes out, if we walked into the show and said Josh Johnson's the quarterback for the entire game, I wouldn't have picked San Francisco to win the game. Hell no. I've seen that guy play.
I wouldn't have picked him with Purdy, and I didn't. But
I think the thing is that we're never going to know. That's the frustration.
Exactly. That's the point. Know. That's the point I was trying to make on Sunday. Because 3 out of the 4 of us predicted a blowout last week for the Eagles, and one predicted a close game for the San Fran. But there was no way of knowing how that would have played out. Once Purdy went down, there's all bets are off. I wish all bets were off.
Yeah, and it's a completely different game after that standpoint. When you're unable to sustain drives, your defense is out there a majority. You can stay close with them for a while, but when you have Christian McCaffrey trying to throw a double reverse pass just to throw something in the air with 11 minutes in the fourth quarter, we all knew that it was done, and that was frustrating to see that.
That game was over at halftime, and I texted that 100%. In the group chat. I said, it seems like both teams are just trying to run the clock out. It's just really weird.
One thing I wanted to bring up with this, and Drew, you having some head coaching experience with this, what is kind of crazy, and I guess back in the day, there used to be a rule where you carried a third quarterback on the roster that didn't count towards your active guys.
Right.
And I don't think we've ever really seen it exposed like that. I know that Denver, I think it was last year, or with COVID or something like that, they had one of their receivers had to play quarterback the entire game or something like that. It was a bad product that was out there with a lot of eyes watching, and I just feel like, a simple roster rule would allow you to be able to potentially carry an extra guy or something like that in case disaster strikes like that. What do you think?
They had that rule for the longest time. That the third quarterback was allowed. Yeah. It was an emergency quarterback rule. He was on the roster. He was on the sideline. He was dressed. He didn't count towards the active roster. But if you needed him in an emergency situation, then he would go in, and then something he had to stay on the roster for something along those lines. Like he had to, if you're going to take basically the red shirt off of this guy and put him in the game, he had to stay on. The NFL got rid of that a couple years ago, and even the announcers were talking about it after the game. Like, dude, that's something that they really have to revisit because as we saw on Sunday, the quarterback position is one play away from being out. I mean, every position is one play away, but no offense, like not everybody can play quarterback. Like, God forbid a team goes down slim at offensive line, you're in a pinch. You could put a right guard in at left guard, right? You had to. Yeah. You can't put a running back in at quarter. Like, you just can't do it. So I would like to see them bring that back.
Yeah, I think so too.
I'll tell you what, I honestly think we're going to be seeing a lot more of these type injuries, with the new rules, not being able to go to the head and the legs and all. I mean, there was 2 quarterbacks that got nailed hard as they were throwing the ball, and it just unfortunately. I
always hated those arm. When you're as a QB, like. When you're cocking back like that and you're coming forward, man, if you get that arm hit, that's why I used to flip out. Like we had guys in practice like that would be trying to hit the ball out of my hand or something like that. I'm like, are you insane? I'm throwing that ball, I'm whipping that arm back with such force, and I'm coming forward with such force, and if something suddenly stops me, my shoulder will fall out of the socket. Like, it's a bad
shoulder,
injury,
elbow, fingers, whatever.
This wound up being an elbow, and I was saying that, and I will, I'll not go back on what I was saying, but I was saying in the group chat, like, dude, nothing's broke, nothing's torn. Go out there and try. That was my motto for Purdy. They have X-ray machines in the stadiums. Go back, get an X-ray. If nothing's broke, at least go show me that you tried. And then he went back into the game, and he did, and I was okay with it. And then the news came out the day after that he completely tore his UCL, which is a very significant injury. More significant, I mean, if you watch baseball, it's a Tommy John surgery for pitcher.
Right.
Yeah.
So I do, I give him credit. I give him respect. He did try and play through it, and that's an injury you can't play through. But yeah, he will, dude. He'll be all right, man. I know what you're saying. Like, he proved himself as a starter. I agree. Like, moving forward, I think that the Niners got a decision to make, and whatever one they got, I think they got a little bait or whatever they want with these 2 QBs going in the.
I think it's going to be crazy because Trey Lance is actually going to be ready in 3 weeks to go full go, and Brock Purdy has at least 6 months to go. So we'll kind of see what that looks like. And, I guess what they were saying in the press conference today was he can have the surgery. Like you said, Drew, football is a little bit different than baseball when it comes to this. Yeah. That 3 months he can be out there throwing, and it takes from month 3 to month 6 to kind of build up the arm, and they're pretty encouraged about that timeline. Mm-hmm. So they don't know if he's going to have the Tommy John or not, which is good news. But nonetheless, there is going to be that kind of quarterback battle. We'll have a lot of offseason to talk about that. But I wanted to touch on, so to Slick here real quick, when you watched that game, what was something that kind of stood out to you? Because that Eagles defense was flying around. Hassan Reddick is really making a name for himself out there.
Slick, before you start, I have a question, BP. Okay. Garoppolo was questionable last week.
He was out.
What was it? What was his status? Was he not ready, or did they? I mean, I can't imagine that they wouldn't have put him on the active roster if he could.
They never put him on IR when he broke his foot because the timeline was such that he could potentially make at least he was going to be the backup. He was never going to be the starter. They announced that. But I guess he had just started that week of running around on the field a little bit. So they announced that he was out. He never practiced like all week. He was just kind of doing calisthenics. So he was never active in that game.
I just saw that he was listed as questionable, and then deactivated. So
yeah, he was actually announced that he was out on Thursday, which I don't think he was ever going to have a chance to play. But there was an opportunity for him in the Super Bowl had they got there that he might have been able for that game.
Okay.
But
sorry, Slick.
Yeah, no, you're good. What did you think about that Eagles defense? Because I think when we start looking for, the Super Bowl preview kind of next week, I almost feel like Kansas City's offense kind of plays into that Philly front the way that they like to play ball, and Hassan Reddick is doing some damage there. What were your thoughts on that 49er Philadelphia Eagle game?
Kind of everything that you guys touched on, I agree with. Well, I won't say kind of. I agree with pretty much everything you guys touched on. With Drew and OG from Philly's standpoint, and for what you were saying about the 49ers, like everything that you guys said took a place and had an effect on the game in its own way. The only thing I would say is the whole Josh Johnson situation. Yes, he was the backup to the backup, but at the same time, like, my whole deal was, let's not forget that he is a vet. Like, I understand they wouldn't got him, but he's
13 teams.
Yeah, he's a vet, and at one point, like, he was a starter. I remember when he was a starter for the Bucks, but because due to the business part, they had to start Freeman because of the money they had paid Freeman. But he really outplayed him, and everywhere else he went, he came in as a pretty decent backup. I just feel like even if Purdy would have played, I feel like Philly just had the 49ers number. Like, don't get me wrong, like Drew said, yeah, it was kind of close point-wise, but, like, I just feel like Philly was, like, kind of hitting on all cylinders. Maybe not every drive, but more drives than enough. You know what I'm saying? It was, I don't know. I just don't – I like 49ers defense. I like everything about the 49ers. I just feel like when Philly needed a play, a big play, first down, whatever the case may be, like, they got it. Like, not easy, but it wasn't really like, oh, they got that, or it was like, oh, it was just kind of like, oh, okay, yeah, they picked it up.
Yeah.
Well, what was frustrating is I really feel like, really just as a football fan, so I know, Drew, you say, I give you a hard time for not having a team and stuff like that, and sometimes, as a matter of fact, I thought long and hard about exactly what I'm going to say right here. Sometimes, actually, for the first time, I actually regret that I had that back there, because, yes, I am a 49er fan, but I love football, like all football. I love watching players. I love watching schemes. I study it all off season. I'm a nerd. That's what I love to do. And as a football fan, like I always root for my Niners because we always hope we watch the sport because at the end of what do we want in the Super Bowl? We want the two best teams, right? And we want the best team to win. There's 31 teams that are going to be disappointed. And I'm always hopeful that my Niners are going to be in it. And they're in the conversation this year, which was fantastic. But as a football fan, I was so disappointed in this game because of the game it could have been. I really felt like it could have been such a good game. Yeah, Philly was on all cylinders, but I know the 49ers were ready for Philly, just everything going into that. And as a matter of fact, the play that Purdy got hurt on, he's actually throwing to Brandon Ayuk, who's wide open, who just beat Slay on a corner route, and he might score. And he just gets hit. That's the moment of truth. But I just thought that it could have been such a good game. And then I was like, man, I was so bummed out, and I was getting ready to watch the Bengals and the Chiefs, and I was like really having a hard time getting into it because my heart just got ripped out. But let's transition to that game here real quick because we had a battle of two really fantastic quarterbacks. And I got to say, I have so much respect for Patrick Mahomes. The way that he was able.
Don't I get anything to say?
Oh, you can say. Yeah, you can say. I thought you said your piece.
No, not at all. And I'm glad to hear you say that, VP, about liking your team and all. But it's not fair to say that we don't have skin in the game because we're gamblers. I mean, I had a lot more skin in that game on Sunday than you did.
I'm sure.
Believe me. But now,
are you going to be thinking about that loss for 8 months? Let me ask you that.
Hell no. No. That was done at 4:30. I mean 6:30. I mean that's the mentality you have to have when you do what I do.
Right.
But I texted it out to you guys. I was, over and above everything else that we discussed, I was really, really disappointed with the San Francisco organization this weekend on Sunday. I mean, I always thought that San Fran was a class organization. I loved them. I loved them from the Montana Rice days and all. But I'll tell you what, they've gone on after Sunday. They went on my list, and now I have 3 teams that I absolutely hate. And there was just absolutely no call whatsoever for Little Troy's actions, for Greenlaw's actions, and for Trent Williams' actions. And I understand frustration.
What did Greenlaw
sat there freaking Rocky Balboa and trying to punch the ball.
But that's never we've done that all year long. But other teams do that. We just go after the ball and it never gets called. But he was stopped.
But he was just standing there throwing haymakers. I mean,
he's done that a couple times.
That was excessive, bro.
I mean, he hits Gainwell in the forearm and breaks his forearm. Gainwell's out of the Super Bowl now. I mean, there was just no call for. I was really disappointed with the way, and I understand frustration and all. I get it, but on the field, it was really bad. The worst one for me, was the Trent Williams one.
Is that the offensive lineman?
Yeah.
Oh man,
he rock bottomed your boy.
Well, I'm going to put that one on the refs though, because he's going around and he's trying to pull his guys off. And he was in the previous one. I went back and I watched this, and there was whoever he threw to the ground had Deebo Samuel by the face mask, and he had him for probably 45 seconds. And Deebo and Trent are really good friends off the field.
Yeah, it was cool. I see DB versus wideout though. And then a 6'7" friggin' 400-pound
is he a linebacker or either way, the referees were right there and they had every opportunity.
It was actually Von Wallace. It was a cornerback,
corner.
And
I put it on the refs because there was 2 refs that were right there and they were literally doing nothing about it. And finally Trent snapped and it's like I've had enough. Boom.
Yeah.
And what was going on in the game?
I can attest to the whole referee thing, all right? Because I'm a security guard in a high school, and when I got 2 kids that are my size or bigger, which doesn't really happen very often, but they're in there throwing haymakers, and I'm standing there, I'm like, now, do I want to get in the middle of that game with a punch or not? I'm trying to grab for the back or something like that, but no.
I get what you're saying, but at the end of the day, and this isn't just for the Niners. We've seen Devontae Adams do it, and we've kind of blew him up. This is such an emotional game, and I think that's what's amazing about football, right? You have to play with a lot of heart, will, and determination. And I think when you get to that point of the season and everything that had just happened, and mind you, there's been a lot of stuff that happened, even last year and 3 or 4 years for the 49ers that it was really frustrating to watch because you felt like that they were going to overcome it. And this was the best opportunity they've had since 2019. Remember in 2020, they get thrown out of Santa Clara. They have to go down to Arizona. Then last year, they're injured. Trent Williams played on a high ankle sprain, get beat by the Rams. And I heard there was a lot of Philly fans, man. I heard those guys were bad. And Drew, I've heard you guys talk about these Philly fans. Bro, I saw some videos that I will never ever put on this.
Bosa? That was hilarious.
I did see that one. But
one of the dude's
I get what you're saying and stuff. Yeah. I get what you're saying. I wasn't a big fan of that, but at the same time, I was putting myself in his shoes, and I might have snapped in one of those moments too, man. Grabbing my teammate, we're losing like that. I was actually very vocal to my wife because she was she's a big Richard Sherman fan. And you guys remember when Richard Sherman went to Crabtree at the end of the NFC Championship game and was in his face? I told her right then, and Slick, you could probably attest to this because you know me really well. Drew, you know me really well. I'm a really nice guy, but then when there's that point that's been passed, you're gonna get thrown out the club type of thing. If Sherman would have came to me and been good game, whatever in your face afterwards, I'm we're fighting now. That's it. I'm not going to the Super Bowl. You're not either. But that's just, you're in that type of mentality, and I get it. But man, that whole thing just sucked, and it was an ugly thing at the end of the game, and that's unfortunate. But let's turn our attention over to the Kansas City Chiefs and the Cincinnati Bengals, because that was a big time matchup. It was really, really close. What? Start with Prophet?
Go to him first.
Yeah, we'll go to Prophet first. So when we were watching that game, right, it goes back and forth. Cincinnati is in that game. Joe Burrow didn't look Joe Burrow-ish. He made some plays, but he didn't look like how he did the last week. And Kansas City was so scrappy. Patrick Mahomes running around, limping around. What did you think about that game, Prophet? What's a takeaway that you had?
Well, before I give my thoughts on that game, I want to give a shout out to your mother, Mrs. Peeves, okay, because she won the pool, which we talked about last week. I know, but I put my picks in. I believe it was Thursday morning for that pool.
Mm-hmm.
By Sunday, 6 of my games, I made my picks on Thursday. After doing all my analysis and all, I changed it. So for her to have had that many victories, having to put a play in on Thursday or whatever, it was pretty impressive. Okay. That being said, on Sunday I did text you guys and told you that I was changing my pick on that game because I had Cincinnati last week on the show,
Mm-hmm.
but KC was my bet on Sunday. You know what? Let me get the mayor thing out of the way first. That guy had, that was bad. For him to go into such detail talking about that, it's not like he just said, "Oh yeah, Burrows is Mahomes' daddy," but he better get a paternity test and all. Yeah,
He went as a mayor,
Yeah, I mean, come on. Kelsey told him at the end of the game, "Know your role and shut your mouth, you jabroni." How great was that?
It reminded me of Ric Flair.
Yeah,
is that
The
who
Rock.
it reminded me of? Oh, is that The Rock?
It's The Rock. Yeah.
SmackDown Hotel.
Yeah. But,
what's his name? It doesn't matter what his name is.
But something that Buffalo couldn't expose with Cincinnati, which we all knew their offensive line was hurt. Kansas City exposed this past week. Hell, Chris Jones got his first playoff sack. Man, good for him.
Hey, and didn't they line him up at defensive end to get that too, instead of like inside?
Yeah, he
of
come from the outside, exactly. Yeah. My biggest take from that game, it wasn't as good a game as the score indicates. It was a good game for me anyhow. But my biggest take from that game is never count Patrick Mahomes out.
I know, man.
The guy is amazing. He wasn't himself, but he was good enough to get the job done. And
he was.
He's moving on next week. Next Sunday he's playing, not just coming.
Absolutely. Slick, there was a lot of great wide receivers in that game. A lot of two good quarterbacks. So from your perspective, what is something that stood out to you as you watched the AFC Championship?
I just like you guys said earlier about a heavyweight fight. Those guys went at it. Like they went at it. Like every play it was exciting. I definitely enjoyed that game. I'm not gonna lie though. I thought the Chiefs would have won by more points. I didn't think it would come down to that late hit that would set them up to kick the field goal.
What a bonehead too. What a bonehead play.
I didn't think it would come down to that.
He almost blew his knee out on it.
Yeah, he did.
I saw that.
I didn't think it would come down to that. But that's how it's supposed to be. It's the division championship is supposed to be that way. It's supposed to come down to the wire. It's supposed to be a good game. So I wasn't let down any.
How about you, Drew? When you watch that, two great quarterbacks, right, going at it. I thought Joe Burrow had an opportunity getting the ball back with 2 minutes 32 seconds. I thought they were going to go down there and steal it, but
so that's part of my takeaway from this game. You're coming off a game, the Eagles game, which for whatever reason it wasn't a great game. You could have gone and did the dishes, took your trash out, whatever during that game, and not missed much. So now I'm coming back to settle in for this Chiefs Bengals game. I tell the wife, I say, hey, let's go watch this one in the bedroom. So
I'm trying to get her pregnant.
She's already pregnant.
No.
Anyway, so we're watching the game, and next thing you know, I get a nudge. She's like, "Yo, wake up!" I'm like, "What the hell?" I wake up. I must have fell asleep. So
How
I
come?
woke up. That game put me to sleep, and I'm joking, but I'm not like that game didn't live up to. It was a good game, but like Prophet said, it was. I don't think it was a great game. It was kind of sloppy. There was no rushing attack for either team. Nobody could run the ball. Yeah. Prophet took my takeaway, being showing what a baller Mahomes is, but I just thought of another one on the fly, and I think it's a pretty good one. My takeaway from that, and you kind of touched on it. Can Joe Burrow lead his team on a comeback drive to win games? And that final drive, watching him, he never looked comfortable.
No.
In the pocket, he never looked comfortable with any of those throws, and I was never convinced in my mind, hey, Joe's going to lead them down the field and they're going to kick a field goal here, or they're going to score here to win the game, and never crossed my mind or anything like that. So I'm kind of questioning that aspect of it, but I was a little bit, I don't want to say let down. I thought it was a good game. It was better than the Eagles 49ers game.
Huh? Let's say it again one more time.
I mean, it is what it is. But no, I had the Bengals winning. I did, and I had the Bengals winning in a shootout, and it wasn't that. I'm curious, and we'll talk about it more, next week. But I'm really curious to break down this Super Bowl game because I think it's going to be a good one.
I think it's two different styles, right? Like I'm really excited about that. I think my biggest takeaway from the game itself was, Drew, you hit the nail on the head. This is 2 years in a row for the Bengals being in a big game, whether it be the Super Bowl, the AFC Championship game now, where Joe Burrow has an opportunity to go down and either tie or win the game, right? And he's 0 for 2 in both of those matchups. And you can point at the offensive line all you want, but all we're going to remember is Joe Burrow didn't get it done. Correct. And that's going to be a big question going in. And it's unfortunate because I thought he had a really opportunity. And it's a testament to how Kansas City played and was able to create pressure and all that stuff. But, man, that was really unfortunate that they couldn't get it done. But now we have our Super Bowl matchup set, and I'm super excited to talk about that. But we're going to do that next week. We got a whole show next week that we're going to dedicate towards the Super Bowl and some end-of-the-year awards that all four of us are going to talk about who our MVPs are and who our Offensive Player of the Year, Coach of the Year, Rookie of the Year, things like that.
So I'm really excited about that.
That's going to be fun.
Yeah, that's going to be fun. It's going to be fun. We're going to, like BP said, Offensive MVP, Defensive MVP, Coach of the Year, Loser of the Year. Yeah, I'm looking forward to that. Next week's gonna be a fun show, man.
Bozo of the Year. We can go on and on.
We didn't hit Slick on the. Yes, we did.
Oh yeah,
yeah, we did.
We hit Slick.
Yeah, we did.
My bad.
I went last. I'm not used to going last.
You know what, BP, with that Cincinnati game, just to enforce what Slinger said. I'm giving up 2 points in that game, and at no time was I really concerned. It just didn't feel like Burrow was going to get the job done. I wasn't worried about my money at that point. It just
felt like it was hard pressed. Like things were harder to come by, right? Like it didn't look. He didn't look right. It wasn't.
Yeah,
like, the chemistry wasn't there, or whatever it was, and
it certainly wasn't the same team that went north. The week before. That's for sure.
Yeah, and if you're going to talk shit and say it's Burrowhead, you better be ready to let it out and let's go. But go in there and play like that.
Get those refunds. I bet the Bengals fans were asking for the refunds.
Well, you heard Kelsey, like he had a ball after the game. He was all hyped up.
Yeah,
he was all hyped up for it.
Him or his brother.
I will tell you, I got a lot of respect for the Kansas City Chiefs because Kelsey was a game-time decision. I guess he was struggling all week with back spasms.
Yeah.
Obviously, we know what was going on with Patrick Mahomes, and I guess there was a lot of guys that were banged up in that game. They were without, weren't they without Juju? He was out of the game, and so they were out with some of their receiving core. McCole Hardman wasn't in that game, so it was there.
Hardman played.
Yeah, I thought
he played.
He was
late.
banged up. He was banged up.
Yeah, he was banged up. He played late, but he definitely wasn't a factor.
Yeah, they were down to like 2 receivers by the end of the game.
It was prime for the picking for the Bengals to get it done, and they couldn't get it done. So, so that brings us to our next thing. We got some news, guys. So there's some things that happen, right? So this is the time of the year where, for 30 teams in the NFL, their season's over. So you're starting to see some coaching hires right? And I think we saw a really big one on Monday where Sean Payton is officially it's a trade, so to speak, from the Saints to be the Denver Broncos head coach. Now, this is I think I've only remember two. I know John Gruden got traded from the Raiders to the Bucks, and now Sean Payton going to be the head coach of the Denver Broncos. And I think that's a really big hire for the Denver Broncos. And I know, Drew, I'm going to give Drew the opportunity on this one because we started out this year talking about Nathaniel Hackett and coaching with the Denver coaching staff. What do you think about Sean Payton going into the Denver Broncos? We saw an abysmal team, didn't look very disciplined. Russell Wilson not being Russell Wilson, or maybe he was being Russell Wilson.
Yeah.
But what do you think about that, and what do you think that's going to be for the Denver Broncos?
So, like you said, I don't remember a whole lot of trades of head coaches, and I think the ask was pretty high, if I remember seeing correctly, what the Broncos had to give up to get him. Do you have that right there, or no? It was a first round. I mean, it was a.
I think it was a first and a second rounder.
Yeah, I mean
so
that's pretty high for a head coach. Anyway, one thing I can almost guarantee you is Sean Payton. Not that he needs to surround himself with anybody, but he will not be surrounding himself with a rookie defensive, and offensive, and special teams coordinator. That's for damn sure, like Hackett did. He needs to go in there. He's got a guy in Russell Wilson. You know what he can do. You've seen him do it in Seattle. He needs to find a way to bring that back out of him. And if he doesn't, I don't know what the answer is, but you got a lot of money wrapped up in Russell Wilson, and you need to find a way to make it work. And if anybody can do it, I think it's going to be somebody like Peyton who's going to have to bring that out of him. So I don't think it's going to be the same old Broncos that we saw this year. But again, if Russell Wilson doesn't play up to, close to his potential, then they might be in for it.
So the compensation was a 2023 first round pick and a 2024 second round pick and a New Orleans 2024 third round pick. So basically swapping second and third rounders and then a first rounder to the Saints. So, I mean, that's a ransom, like a king's ransom for a head coach. Slick. We've seen Sean Payton in New Orleans do some really great things with Drew Brees. He even did some great things with Jameis Winston, barring, him turning over the ball every now and again. But he probably played one of his better seasons under Sean Payton. And then, of course, we've seen what he was able to do with Taysom Hill. What do you think about this hire for the Denver Broncos, and what are you looking forward to?
I think it was a good hire overall. I think Payton has to get the guys that he needs in there, as far as whether it's through free agency, whether it's through a trade, whether it's through the draft, whatever the case may be. Not saying that the Broncos don't have anything at all to work with, but I just feel he needs, Peyton, when he had Breeze, he just had a trigger man, but he didn't really have anything crazy offensively. He stayed with a running back, but as far as on the perimeter, a receiver-wise, he didn't really have anything crazy. He had he had guys that were making plays, but he didn't have like a T.O. or a Jerry Rice or Randy Moss. Like, he never had that big-name guy like that. So, I mean,
Michael Thomas, you can argue Michael Thomas.
But I feel like
he was
I feel like the system is what made Michael Thomas, because if right now, if you ask some people what college he went to, they don't even realize that he went to Ohio State.
Yeah.
Some people don't even realize that. You know what I'm saying? Like, same thing with Colston. When Colston was he went to Hofstra, but he was a tight end, and he came in, and the system allowed him to be that guy. So I think it was a good hire. Hopefully they can get Russell. Wait, what's up?
Can I tell a story?
Let's hear it. Let's hear it with the Usher finger.
This was a Marcus Colston story. It's probably illegal at the time. Back in high school,
This is a true story.
I got the name Slinger, right?
Don't incriminate yourself.
Yeah, I'm good now. What is it? What's that when it's too much time has run out or whatever?
Oh, it's
yeah.
I know what you're talking about. And plus, you got the beanie on. Yeah, you got the beanie on.
Statute of limitations.
Yeah, statute of limitations passed on this.
Statute of Liberty.
So, I think I'm a junior in high school.
Bibbidi.
Okay, you got that.
I'm a junior in high school, right? And I go up to camp, one-day camp at Hofstra. And there's like probably like 200 kids there.
This isn't Harvard.
Yeah, that was weird. There was a lot of cheese balls and blowout haircuts. So I go up the camp at Hofstra. It's on Long Island, and there's like 200 kids there, and I'm throwing well, but there's a bunch of us. There's like 20, 25 quarterbacks, however many there is. Blah blah blah. Long story short, so the camp ends and everybody breaks, and one of the coaches grabs me, and he's like, "Yo, we want you to hang back." So they grab me and they get me to hang back. They
wasn't Paterno, was it?
No, it was the head coach and a couple of recruiting coaches. And they put me through a private workout, and the guy who shut up, everybody, all right. So the receiver who the private workout was with, who was it? Marcus Colston. So it was me and Marcus Colston throwing all these routes because he went to Hofstra. So it was me and Marcus Colston throwing these routes, 15-yard posts, comebacks, whatever it was. Went through a private workout with him after the camp. 20 minutes later, they brought me up to the office. They offered me a scholarship on the spot. So it was pretty good. It was pretty cool.
Yeah, that was pretty cool.
That was a fun story. And then their football program folded like 2 years later. So
perfect. Damn. Well, that's pretty cool though. Like, when you get an opportunity to be around some of those guys, like we always say, the NFL is like the top 1%. When you get to be around some of those guys, like all right, like it was for real.
No, he was different, dude. He was absolutely different. He made me look good.
Yeah, no, that's good. That's all. It's good.
Hofstra recruited me out of high school after
You would have loved it, Ricky.
Like after the Power Fives found out that I wasn't going to qualify.
Mm-hmm.
Hofstra, Delaware, a couple like FCS schools, they came into the picture, and then what it was after that.
Hey, you end up getting to be with Nick Sirianni though in IUP. By the way, IUP got a lot of love on the Pat McAfee show this last week.
The program is doing big things. The head coach now is Coach what is his name? He was the defensive coordinator when I was there. Italian guy.
Not Taggart, right? No. What? No. Who am I thinking of?
I forget.
Whatever.
He said Italian.
I forgot his name. It isn't Tell.
Me too.
I forgot his name.
Well, you guys think about that. Prophet John Payton. What do you think about this? I feel like it's going to be a good hire for them to try to turn that around. Obviously, they want a winning atmosphere there, but it seemed like they wanted to go DeMeco Ryans when he went to the Texans. They decided to go with the trade compensation for Sean Payton. What do you think about this?
Well, I actually think this is a better fit for the Broncos getting Payton instead of Ryan. Denver's defense, they have a lot of talent on that side of the ball, so Ryan would have fit there well. But Payton's more the offensive-minded guy, and if he can turn Russell Wilson around, Wilson's still a young kid, not a young kid, but what's he? How old are you, Slinger?
34.
He's your age. Yeah, okay, he's your age. So he's still got a couple of years. If he can turn him around, we know he can play ball. And they do have some decent offensive weapons out there. They got Sutton, they got Judy. They do need a running back.
Yeah, because Javonte Williams is going to be coming off an ACL, right? And I'd be surprised if Melvin Gordon was out of there.
He got rid of Melvin Gordon. He kept fumbling too much.
That's right.
I mean, if Sean Payton's a good coach, and if anybody can get Denver back where Elway wants them to be, it's him. They've got enough talent. I mean, losing this draft pick though hurts them.
Well, yeah, because they also gave up a lot to get Russell Wilson, right?
Yeah.
So that I felt like this was almost doubling down on, hey, Russell Wilson, you will be successful here. We are going to put everything around you, and if you're not, you're not, right? But
free agency this year is going to be a key for them because I don't think they've got very much. They got very much in draft pick wise this year.
So I got the cap numbers here. Drew, I am that guy. I do have that. So right now, projected for 2023, the base salary cap is up to $224 million, almost $225. The Broncos will have $9 million in cap space. So they're top 15 right now, and that'll change quite a bit. But I think it's going to be interesting what we see out of them in free agency. Right? They have 62 guys that are on contract, so they won't have to do a whole bunch as far as re-signing guys. They're going to try to go out and try to get more guys, and obviously they're going to have to go that way because they've given up a lot of draft capital. We'll touch on this really quick because we had other big news that came down today, but DeMeco Ryans is going to be the Texans head coach. Obviously, he was an all-pro linebacker there, and he signed a 6-year deal. I'm excited for him. It sucks losing him as a defensive coordinator. I knew that was going to happen, but it was interesting that he chose to go to the Texans. Seemed like everybody was kind of calling for him. Just real quick, going around the table, and we'll start off with Slick here. What do you think about the hire? Just super quick.
I think it was a good hire. Number one, because he's proven himself in the NFL as a coach. Number two, it gives another African-American coach another opportunity to be a head coach in the NFL, and
not a retread, right? Like a guy to get a fresh opportunity.
Yeah. I think if he gets the right OC and the right pieces, coaching staff wise, I think he can do some things, because we've talked about this season how probably like mid-season all the way to the end, how the Texans were basically competing every game. They just didn't have that oomph to get them over the top.
Close.
Yeah, but they were competing. So now if you get a guy that's edgy like him with a defensive mind, put the defense in place, and he gets a good OC, good receiver coach, quarterback, all that type of stuff, I think he'll be okay. Not a Super Bowl contender, but I think he'll definitely do better than they did this year.
I think it's important is, and you guys can attest to this when you're a head coach, is the culture. And I think that's what they're looking for him to bring in, a real winning culture, tough culture. Let's go to Prophet. What did you think about that hire of DeMeco Ryans?
Well, I think it's a good hire, but I also think we're going to know after the draft is over how good of a hire it was, because free agency will be done at that point. I touched on this, a couple of weeks ago with the Lovie Smith fire, and I mean the defense is in place there. They've got the players on defense, which is going to play into Ryan's hands. They need offensive help.
Yeah,
and they've got a lot of draft picks this
and Brandon Cooks wants out.
Oh, yeah, and he's not a top flighter anymore anyhow. I mean, he's still a good guy to have on your team, but
he would be my number 3.
Yeah, but they need some defense. I mean, they need some wide receiver help, and they need a quarterback.
True.
So,
what do you think, Drew?
I think I'm happy for DeMeco. I liked watching him as a player. He had his time here as an Eagle too, but you're only as good as your last game, and they got absolutely blasted by the Eagles on Sunday. So I'm curious to see how he's going to do as a head coach.
I can't even just stare you in the face. As bad as I get on my Niners, you're as bad as hating them as me. I do love them, by the way. So you're just the other end of the spectrum, by the way. All right, big news today. Tom Brady announced his retirement, and it sounds like he was on the beach. I was going to have the video up, but I have a really great video for everybody watching.
One of those Florida beaches.
That was legit, man.
It was legit, right? It was very heartfelt. It actually, I was very surprised. So my wife started crying this morning. She loves Tom Brady. I love his story. But it kind of got me going, the way that he started talking about his teammates, his coaches, like all the things that go into it, right? Of playing the game and the sacrifices that you make. You could see it, and he kind of started getting teary-eyed. I thought it was well done. I also love the jab that he put at himself of, I did a really lengthy one last year, but it's not going to be like that this year. So go ahead.
That's why I think it was legitimate, because he said, dude, it's short and sweet. Yeah. I'm done. Like, I'm just done, and thank you. And it was heartfelt. It was raw. You saw the videos a couple weeks ago of Tom touring schools for his kids in Miami. Like, dude, I think he's ready to move on to the next chapter of his life, and I think he's done.
Yeah, Fox broadcast booth is calling him $300 million or whatever.
I was going to say, I heard about the deal.
$37 million a year for 10 years. Brady will be okay.
Yeah, seriously.
And I mean, honestly, the way that Romo, I just have to say this publicly, he drives me nuts. Anytime that Mahomes is on, like, I swear that he just needs to ask that guy out to dinner or something, because like he is all over that dude all game long. Well, you see there, Mahomes took a dump over there, and just watch how he wipes, Jim. It's phenomenal.
Romo isn't worse than RG3 to me.
RG3,
RG3
not
has
for nothing.
RG3 has to be the lamest, biggest cornball on air.
Was that said in our group chat this weekend though? Greg Olsen is awful.
Oh, you think Olsen's awful?
I think Olsen.
I think
I have a problem with Olsen.
I don't know if it's Olsen or the other guy, but one of them
might be the other
terrible.
guy. I like
the
Olsen.
team together.
I agree with you. I feel like their character, like their vibe, doesn't mesh well.
I said,
but I don't think Greg Olsen is awful.
I think I like Greg Olsen.
Give me Herb Street, Aikman, and Joe Buck, man. I'll be.
Oh man,
I like that team. That would be a team right there.
That would be awesome. But I like Greg Olsen. What's going to be unfortunate is I know that contract for Brady is with Fox. So I wonder if they're just going to bump out Olsen or they're going to put those two together. I don't know what that looks like. But real quick, Prophet, what are your thoughts on Tom Brady calling it quits today?
I love Tom Brady. I always have since he came into the league. I'm happy for him. He seems to be happy listening. I only caught a little bit of the clip, but he sounds happy. My wife, Mrs. Prophet, tells me she follows him all, that he's posting pictures, being out with the kids and all. It looks like he's enjoying himself. I'm happy for you. Good luck, Tom.
Thank you for the memories.
Yeah, thank you for the memories.
Guys, honestly, you think about it. The greatest quarterback to ever play, probably in the NFL, and it's in our lifetime, and we got to grow up watching it, man. So
it's going to be a different league that we've seen next year. Just having him not be a part of it, as far as on the field, that's going to be different because for the last 24 years, he's been a big part of it in the biggest games and the biggest moments. It's in honestly, like, if you think about a story like a Brock Purdy, for instance, like we reference that type of story to what Tom's story was. 199th overall, 6th-round pick coming out of Michigan, scrappy kid with a lot of heart and fight that didn't have all the measurables. And, you know, you have a guy that has won 7 Super Bowls, been in I don't know how many. But it's pretty cool to be able to see that happen. And I don't know if we're ever going to see it again, quite honestly, is to be able to see, you know, a quarterback win 7 Super Bowls and all that. What are you cutting your head on?
Because only you, Brandon. Brandon would find a way. Only you on a Tom Brady tribute segment would find a way to work Brock Purdy into it. Come on.
Well, yeah, because he's Mr. Irrelevant. It's the same type of late round draft pick as a quarterback that doesn't have all the intangibles.
Here, I'll do him one better. Man. I'll do BP one better. Tom Brady took Joe Montana's moniker from him, in my eyes.
What was it?
The GOAT.
Yeah.
Yeah, Joe Montana was the greatest quarterback I had ever seen play.
When he had come back in that game against the Falcons, right then that it was solidified forever, like going forward. Like there's absolutely no debate there.
Larry, you knew where I was going. Larry. Come on.
I'm not comparing like them as players. I'm saying where they got drafted. Where
he
they
doesn't
got
need to be
drafted.
in the conversation.
Where they got drafted.
Doesn't need to be in the conversation.
It doesn't take much, does it? I'm going to tell your wife just to say Brock Purdy every time she wants to miss you off. Brock Purdy. Cool. There it is.
No, say Brandon Peebler.
All right, guys. Well, hey, we got a treat for you guys. We started.
I'm excited for this.
Yeah, we started this whole thing back in July. I've had an absolute blast, and now that we're kind of wrapping up the football season, we're still going to be around. We're still going to be doing shows. We're still going to be going through this. But this was I can't take the credit for it because Prophet called me about a week and a half ago. He said, BP, I got a great idea. And he said, hey, what if we did the show the week before the Super Bowl, before we preview the Super Bowl, we kind of do like a year-end review. And I said, I think that's a great idea. We have so many hours of show on here. And somehow I was able to get a 13-minute video. Now, there's a lot of stuff that's not in here, guys. But I think the good stuff we got and I had a ball making this, and I'm really excited to share it with everybody. So sit back, relax, enjoy a fantastic laugh, because this was great to put together. So sit back and enjoy. How excited are you for this season, man? I cannot wait to get this started.
Brandon, what's up, man? What's up, Ricky? How you doing, man? It's good to see you guys
Drew?
again.
Same to you.
Good to see you guys. It's been a while since our days out in Germany, so it's going to be fun to catch up with you guys, talk some football, and share some laughs, share some insight, and I'm really looking forward to it, man. I'm glad to be a part of it.
For sure.
Yeah.
For sure. This is pretty new to me. Like you just said, Drew, I'm excited. I'm just anxious to see how far this can go and where we can take it.
New additions. They got a new coach, Nathaniel Hackett, but the big one, the real big one, the one that I posted a video and it's on TikTok of me laughing when Russell Wilson got traded from the Seahawks. Kiss it, man. Get out of my division. You can sit with Denver right now.
Oh
he
my
got
God.
traded. I get fired up, bro.
This guy's a new head coach. But not only is your head coach new, okay? Your offensive coordinator is new. First-time offensive coordinator. Your defensive coordinator is new. First-time defensive coordinator in the NFL. Your special teams coordinator is new. First-time special teams coordinator. You're going in with an entirely fresh staff. And I hear good things about Hackett, man. I heard he's a player's coach. The guys like him. They're rallying around him. But when you got 4 rookie coaches who have never done it before and a team that kind of, struggled last year, you better make sure that you're doing the right things, during the week to be ready for Sunday. So Russell Wilson's got it, dude. They better be watching at least 4 hours of film. All right,
independent studies.
Russell's got his hands full, man, and we'll talk more about it. But
Drew definitely called it.
But I got a lot of.
You got fired.
A lot of questions about
the coach. The coaches, all of them are new. All the coaches are new. They're all new.
Listen, Russell Wilson story before we go.
I figured there's something.
Yeah,
I figured
it's like 2005, right? 2005 maybe, and I'm a sophomore in high school, and I was a quarterback, and I was pretty good. Had some offers, blah blah blah, and I go down to the University of Virginia, had a prospect camp, like a junior day type thing, and I get put into this group, and it's me, a kid, I think Pat Devlin or something, I forget, and then this kid Russell Wilson, and I shit you not.
Here he comes.
I joke you not. So it's me, Russell Wilson, and this other kid in the group, and I'm 6'2", like I think I'm the crap or whatever, and I see Russell Wilson, dude, he's stacked, but he's short, man. He's like, I don't know, 5'8", 5'9" at the time. I'm like, all right, I got this. I'll probably be the best one in this group. And this kid, Russell Wilson, and I'll never forget, he had his little green helmet on with his yellow face mask. And he gets up and he takes like a 5-step drop and throws a 16-yard comeback. And it was the hardest ball I've ever seen thrown in my life. But he had the strongest arm I've ever seen. And I was like, okay, this little kid is going to show me up. Right? I always had a vendetta against Russell Wilson for that reason. That's why you guys are going 7-10, and you're the worst team in the AFC West, bro. So,
I knew it was something.
I knew it was something.
Figure out
I
why.
have to go through the roof because I'm going. Whatever. This is absolutely ridiculous. I don't care who you are, Tom. I don't care how many rings you have, how many MVP awards you won. You are the franchise quarterback, and you're going to miss 11 days of camp or a family vacation? What are you, in high school, guys? Come on. I mean, you just had 185 days off, and now you're going to go and miss 11 days during camp while your brothers are out there sweating, grinding, bleeding, and putting in the work to get ready for the season, and you're out there sucking face with Giselle? Come on, man. I hate this story, and I hate the fact that nobody talked about it. No, the head coach wouldn't talk about it. Everybody was like, oh, it's Tom. He can do what he wants. That's BS, dude. He's the quarterback. The one that stands out to me was Rudy. As I got older, I started to really sour on Rudiger himself. After I realized what kind of a scumbag.
Bro, he's a horrible person. Football draft and stuff coming up.
Oh, yeah,
hey,
definitely fantasy football.
Can you guys hear me?
Yeah.
Am I?
That blew my mind.
Was this the very first time we brought him in the show?
Yeah. He comes out looking like Hogan. Watch this. I can only mean one thing is we have the pigskin prophet.
The pigskin prophet has finally arrived.
He's finally here.
He is on this past week.
Peeling back the onion, man. It's been nuts.
Well, you know what? It's going to get even worse this coming week. Because history shows us that when the moon and Uranus are in line, I always thought they were one and the same thing, okay? But, anyway, when they're in line, the NFL just goes whack. Well, my dear friend from Texas drove up this weekend. He misunderstood. He misunderstood the security detail last week, okay? See, I have the security detail so I can open the vault. He thought I was on the run. He brought this disguise up for me. Nobody gonna know who this is.
The legend. We got the prophet, OG prophet, and it looked like there's some $100 bills that's missing from that billboard back
what
there.
happened?
What's going on, man?
Man, you know what? My security team, Tony Three Thumbs and Joey Little Scar, they called me earlier today. They said, Prophet, I'm sorry, we need the night off. Mama Leone, she forgot what day it was, and she cooked a big pot of gravy and homemade gnocchi, and we got to go. I said, go, man. How could I stand in the way of homemade gnocchi? It's like crazy. But
so you're telling me that they did it all for the gnocchi?
All for the gnocchi. I started it. I'm trying to get everything finalized for the show tonight, and I got a guy knocking on my door. He wants a donation for this the community swimming pool. I'm like, it's 40 freaking degrees out. We don't need to worry. So I gave him a donation anyhow. I gave him a glass of water.
Oh my God!
And lo and behold, right before the show, I popped the Viagra. It got stuck in my throat, and you guessed it, I got a stiff neck now. But I'm here, and I have all my stuff ready, and I am ready to go.
Oh man! Hopefully it doesn't last more than 4 hours. There, you don't want stiff neck longer than 4 hours.
Yeah, no, I'll call my doctor if that happens.
Call your doctor. All right. You guys have a good relationship.
One was me always dominating the friends game.
Oh yeah.
The one year I dislocated my ankle. I'm playing tight end. I dislocated my ankle. I still went out there and caught 3 touchdowns.
Oh. Who are you playing? St. Mary's School of the Blind? No.
There actually was a blind kid, you insensitive asshole.
How you feel now, BP?
I know you're probably not watching the show.
Jesus! Oh my God! Cancel! Hey, my shot of the week. I'm gonna try not to get too. My hot shot of the week. I'm gonna try not to get too sentimental and try not to cry here. My hot shot of the week goes to one of the most influential and smartest people, smartest football mind that I know that I've ever been around, and it's me. It's myself. My hot shot of the week goes to myself because I called the Broncos coaching staff sucking 6 weeks ago when we first started this thing, and I should be coaching the NFL.
The best part is when Slick almost is stuff everywhere.
Drink the water.
Absolutely. Now, Slick, I know your household was, you got a big Florida State fan in your household, and there's no time left. LSU had just almost tied the game, right? They scored a touchdown. All they got to do is kick the extra point. Now, remember, it's college. They kick it from the 2. They don't kick it from, no 15-yard line or whatever. And then this happened.
Action to send us to overtime.
Oh my God!
You know what's crazy? Like, we watched that game at some friend's house, and I caught the whole drive, I was like, they gotta stay tempo. They gotta stay tempo. And they stayed tempo. He driving. I was like, LSU about to score. Daniels finna throw a touchdown. Throw a touchdown to Jenkins, number 10. Field goal. They was like, oh man, they about to go in overtime. I said, nope, it's finna get blocked.
Really?
Point conversion, like he's a toddler who just stole his parents' phone and is running all over the place, and they can't catch him. So matter of fact, I got this clip here.
Uh-oh.
If you don't believe me, check it out. Now just envision this man or boy, whatever, 5'7", whatever he is, as a little toddler that just took his parents' phone and they're trying to catch him.
He definitely like he was playing Sandlot.
Oh, hey, you're not gonna get it. Yeah, nope, I'm not gonna give it. Nope, not gonna get it. Nope, over there. Nope. All right. Mom, you want it? Nope, no, you can't get it. I'm gonna get it. Come on, man. Play took 25 hours.
It goes back to what I'm saying about Vegas. So you're gonna sit here and tell me these guys are top-notch athletes and nobody can get in there and tackle them? They're getting paid millions and millions of dollars. These guys are top, like elite.
They said he ran like 80-something yards on that play.
How many people did you really see come after him though?
Bro, they only rushed 3.
Oh my God, they were probably
Exactly.
rushing 3.
So when he broke the
3.
line, when he broke the line of scrimmage past the D line, where was the second level?
Well, not only that, but check this out. Who they bring hot shot of the week is going out to a player. Oh, don't freeze on me. You guys are going to learn. If you haven't learned his name yet, you're going to, because this kid is going to be a superstar in the league. And, Drew, I just happen to have a video clip of him.
Oh!
Yeah, I just happen to have one.
It has to be Debo.
Cooper Cup.
It's not Debo?
This one is juggled.
Okay.
Here goes the Funga.
Oh my God, it's a 49. Is that
Talanoa Hufanga.
Funga or whatever?
Learn him. Learn his name.
Good call.
He's the next. I'm telling you, he is the next superstar safety in this league. He's already starting to get a lot of national publicity. But I'm got to give this little tidbit here. When he was drafted in the 3rd round, I believe, out of USC. Me and one of my really good friends, Jeff Ramage, we obsess about our Niners. Okay, we saw his film, and I said this kid's going to be special. And all he is around. His college tape was just around the football. And you want to know what? So far this year, he already has 2 picks, 1 to the house. He's around the ball the entire time, and he's just absolutely lighting it up. So my hot shot of the week. And you're going to learn his name, whether you like it or not. You keep shaking his name. At least pronounce it right. Talanoa Hufanga.
How about Noah? I never want to hear your name called again, because it's never going to be called again, because you're such a freaking homer. God. I was wrong. I don't even know what to say to you sometimes. How much do you, when you go to work in the morning, do you wear anything other than like 49ers apparel all the time?
Well, let me.
Man thong, a 49ers man thong.
Well, of course it is, Drew. And you know what? I think you borrowed my man thong because it sounds like it's been up your ass all night. Oh man,
Bravo.
that was awesome.
That was great.
That was good stuff.
That was good.
That was good stuff. I can't wait to make way more of these. So many
was
memories
fun,
we got. That was a blast. Obviously, we have a lot of fun on the show. So, without much more being said, it's time for our. Where is it?
Here we go. Pop quiz, hot shot.
Boom. Hot shot of the week. So, we went through Championship Sunday. We're going into the Super Bowl next week. We got some hot shots to give out. Let's start off with Profit. Let's go with OG with that hot shot this week.
All right. Well, my hot shot goes out to Mrs. Profit. Today's her birthday. We're celebrating her birthday. Unfortunately, she had treatment this morning on her birthday.
Happy birthday.
But yeah, she's the love of my life, and for 41 years. 41 years now.
Oh, you lost count.
Yeah, well, after that many, Slick, yeah. Yeah, for her to have stuck with me for 41 years, man, that's saying something about her. Yeah.
Yeah, that's a hell of a woman.
Yeah.
Happy birthday, Mom. I mean,
Yeah,
Mrs.
happy
Prophet.
birthday.
Happy birthday,
Happy
Mr.
birthday.
Prophet.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Larry, to answer your question real quick, I think Slick, you might be. I think you're 2 back. I think Slick's 2 back. I know
What?
I'm out of it of the playoff pool. I think Drew's got it already because there's only 1 game left and everybody else is 2 out or more. So I think you won the playoff pool there, Drew. Yeah. I'm surprised he didn't have the disco ball. Son of a...
I didn't plug it in tonight.
If he didn't have so much 49ers on his mind, he would have.
Yeah, I didn't plug it in tonight. It's right.
Yeah, he did. All right, Slick, hot shot, man. Who you got?
I got two. The first one is to the missus. As you know, this was her first year as a head coach, girls basketball. They didn't do exactly what she wanted them to do, but I feel like with a good off season, she gets a lot of coming back, and I feel like they can definitely put themselves in a good situation next year to where they can kind of let people know, like, hey, we're here, we're coming. They finished their first season together, so that's a big up to her. And then the second hot shot goes to myself. Myself and the opportunity that was given to me, the new chapter
awesome,
as an
man.
OC at a struggling high school, which like I told you, I'm not coming by myself. Like Prime said, I'm coming, bringing the whole coaching staff with me, and we're gonna do what we got to do to change the culture.
There you
There we
go.
go.
Coach T says
Coach
my hot
T's.
shot goes to
Good job,
Slick
Slick.
for becoming the new offense coordinator at my alma mater, Bayshore High. Proud of you, my guy.
That's awesome. By the way, Coach Teese is freaking awesome. She's always blasting us all over Twitter, telling us to come
She
watch
is,
the show.
man. She is.
It's really cool. We really appreciate it. We love having you a part of this. So
Yeah, man, that's the missus,
awesome.
man. That's
I know.
That's my right hand.
That's awesome. That's super cool. Drew, who you got, man?
BP, are you able to share my screen or no?
I can't share your screen, but I think can you go down to
Present?
Present? Yep. And then you can choose to share a screen over there.
I'll share a screen. I'm going to share my screen.
So nervous
And
right now.
You guys can see it.
It's
still
loading
hear
up
me?
here. There we go. Yep, we can hear you.
You can hear me. You can see me, or you
Yep.
can hear it.
Both.
So my
I
hot
can-
shot of the week goes to a teacher from East Orange High School, or I'm sorry, East Orange Charter School in New Jersey. Her name's Janice Jenkins, and I came across this video of. You're gonna just watch this kid right here, and I mean, just an unsung hero here. This teacher saves this boy's life. This boy starts choking on a bottle cap, and you guys can see in the video here. Maybe not. Of course.
I remember seeing this, and the kid, like, he was actually really calm during this entire thing.
Anyway,
Like, it was crazy. But yeah, the
How do I
teacher
stop
comes
sharing
over and
my
gives him the Heimlich, which was awesome. So
I'll
hopefully-
stop sharing my screen. But anyway, Janice Jenkins. If you go check the video out, you got a 9-year-old kid. He's drinking a water bottle, and the cap somehow goes down his throat, and he runs over to the sink and tries to get it out, and he can't get it out, and he's running around the classroom, and finally he runs up to the teacher, and he's pointing at his mouth, and the teacher, without hesitation, man, just spins him around and starts giving him the Heimlich, pumping the Heimlich, and you see the cap come out, and the kid is just like looks at her and starts bawling, and dude, she just hugs him and embraces him, and
so
it was just
cool.
like it was crazy, man. It was so nice to see. Again, that was Janice Jenkins from East Orange, New Jersey. That's my hot shot of the week. Also, special hot shot shout out to my mother, Mrs. Prophet. Happy birthday, love you.
That's awesome, you guys. And this is no joke, I'm going to try not to get emotional on this one because I started this podcast 3 years ago, I put something out on Facebook, said, hey, if I started talking football, would anybody listen to me? This was 3 years ago during the pandemic. Fast forward to now, and just going through all those memories just of this year has me so excited just to keep doing this with you guys. I honestly can say from the bottom of my heart, I love you guys, Drew, Slick, Prophet. Like, you guys are an extended family to me. But also the people that tune in every single week. We have people that are going on cruise ships to Belize that are tuning into our show on Wednesdays. We have people that never miss, that are always in the comments and sharing our stuff all over Twitter. And quite honestly, it's such a cool little community that we have every Wednesday night that we get to come together and talk football and just laugh and have a really good time. So this is to all you guys that make this possible. Like, I love coming on here and talking to you guys. I love that we get to continue our relationship outside of football. I'm so glad I get to talk to your dad, Drew, the Prophet.
Yeah.
Like, I get to
to talk to my dad. It's pretty wild.
It's so cool, man. It's
like
so
once
cool.
a week, a week, I know that, hey, I'm going to have at least an hour and 20-minute conversation with my dad. It's pretty
He's
cool.
going to know I'm alive.
It's awesome. Yeah. My mom that comes in here and wins, the pick'ems and all the people that play the pick'ems and dedicate that time and to us. This goes out to you guys. We love you. I love you guys, and it's awesome. We can't wait to keep it going. We're going to be here for a while. So cheers, guys.
And BP to that, man. I can definitely tell you that nobody watched the Peepcast. So, we're doing great things here. We're doing great things here with the Backyard Blitz.
Oh, man, that's awesome. That's awesome. Well, we
Is that
can't
what
wait.
it was called?
The
Peepcast?
Peepcast. Yeah, the Peepcast.
That was the first one. I don't know what
it was the first one. I started off just doing audio, and I didn't even know what I was doing. But it got a lot of views. And then I got a partner, and then we came on video, and then you guys for this season was awesome. And now here we are. And now here we are.
He said, bite me true.
So
it's all love. It's all love.
So next week we're gonna do our honors, so to speak, of like the players and all that stuff, and then we're gonna preview the Super Bowl. We're gonna dedicate a lot of time to it, so make sure that you tune in. And we can't wait to be here and be your football content, your football resource, even beyond the season, because we're going to be doing that. So
looking forward to it. Big Super Bowl show next week.
Big Super Bowl show next week. So until then, you
be
guys.
A good one.
I might wear a tux next week because it's an award show.
I'll pull a throwback Eagles jersey out.
Yeah, you watch The Office, like the Dundies.
Like the Dundies.
This is gonna be
throwback Eagles jersey.
Do not put Peter Powell up on his screen. Do not put him up. No! Get him off of here.
We'll see you guys next week.